Good afternoon, Dr. Narendra Kumar, Dr. Reddy, esteemed colleagues on the dais and the faculty members. First of all, let me congratulate all of you on the eve of the 63rd Foundation Day of the NIRDPR. And indeed, it's a very happy day, and I'm really sad that because of engagements that couldn't have been avoided, I am unable to be with you. I would have been far more happier if I had the privilege of being with you and interact with you. We heard excellent address from Dr. Reddy. I was unable to hear the other guests on this occasion. I'm sure they would have been as illuminating and as thought-provoking as Dr. Reddy's was. And I'm sure NIRD would take a lot of direction and thought ideas as to how the institution should move forward. For us, NIRD is a very important institution, and for preparing little bit whatever time I had, I was looking through the report of Dr. Y.K. Alag committee, and then the standing committee of the parliament, which examined the NIRD's functioning way back in 15-16, and all those documents I was trying to go through. So one of the ideas that comes out very clearly from those documents, and I read from the address portion that I was here of Dr. Reddy, is that the rural realities are changing. For this institution to stay alive to the current rural realities and the future rural realities, we need to kind of mold ourselves, orient ourselves so that the institution's relevance for the policy making, for the capacity buildings are in tune with what should be expected of such an institution and what should the rural areas need or get from such an institution or the network of institution that it heads. So what are those realities? Let us ponder for some time. One is that the nature of the rural areas is changing. Previously, what we used to think that the most of the population resides in the rural areas is still true, but the rural areas are also urbanizing and the urbanization is also growing. So both realities are there. Then you have a large number of people going out of the rural areas because the jobs are not as much as they should be. We are also seeing that the rural areas, the kind of agriculture that they used to practice is also undergoing a lot of change. Much greater involvement of the mechanization. We are also seeing that the diversity in production is also coming, more focus on horticulture, the livestock, the dairy production, etc. are coming. You would be quite happy and also surprised to know that 50% of the manufacturing output comes from the rural areas. More than 25% of the service output comes from the rural areas, and these numbers are sometime off between 2010 to 2015. So these realities would have also changed in between, because the urban areas, as we see, the new industrialization, etc., or new manufacturing activities are not taking place. These are going to the rural area. But we are also seeing that the degree of automation is growing, so jobs are not coming. So these are all the realities which we are confronted with, and on the other hand, we see that there are a lot of programs which aim to address the issues of the poverty and the rural areas on a saturation basis. Even even, I mean, you take the program of NRLM, it wants, at least it has the ambition to cover all the SHG women who come from the deprived families. You take the example of the drinking water, Ghar Nal. So it aims to cover all the households. You take the example of electricity, it aims to cover every household. Similar is the issue of sanitation. So the rural areas, these civic facilities are being developed on a very large scale, and most of them, I mean, even if they don't happen in about 2 years' time, but in 5 years' time, we should see that the level of basic amenities in the rural areas will increase very substantially. Similarly, if we see the way the connectivity, particularly the digital connectivity, is growing within the rural areas, so that is also undergoing a very fast change, and it's only a matter of time that the digital penetration in the rural areas is as high as what you see in the rural areas. And with the digital connectivity, a lot of amenities and services which ride on the digital media will also come in. So our ability to access the rural population would go up. Similarly, the rural areas, rural citizens' ability to access what is happening all around the world would also go up. So that kind of tells us the changing rural reality and the need to kind of orient ourselves to the task that we have in order to be able to effectively serve the rural areas in the with the best quality of service through this ministry and through other ministries and the state governments and the entire network of the institutions built around the rural areas. Now, let me take up this issue of NIRD being a think tank. So, NIRD, certainly this ministry regards the NIRD as the think tank. But let us also see the examples of other think tanks which are in existence. You would certainly regard NITI as a think tank, and there are many other think tanks in the capital and then all around the country. The question and the issue that the NIRD community needs to ask itself is that are we matching ourselves, if not exceeding, and if not being at the par with the leading think tanks around the world in the area, in the issues that we address, and the new thought processes and new thinking that we are able to bring. The new themes that we are able to address, that issue we need to address very squarely. So our publications, as Dr. Reddy mentions, also newspaper pieces, the blogs, the articles, the researches, new modes of implementing the programs, the pilots, etc. All should lead us to position NIRD as the premier institution as far as thinking on the rural development is concerned. And not only for this ministry, but I would say that if we want to serve the rural areas, it is the rural citizens who are at the forefront of the service that they should receive. And therefore, whatever needs are there of the rural people, we should be in a position to address. If through ourselves, our programs, fine. If not, then by effectively networking so that we are able to triangulate their needs, we are able to position and converge different programs and institutions so that we are in a position to serve them better. So let me take one thought that we have been grappling with. Honorable Prime Minister, when he interacted with the secretaries on 18th of September this year, then one of the thoughts that he gave to us that we should eradicate poverty in the next 5 years to come. We know that it's a difficult task, but this is a task which is also worth addressing if, as an institution, as a rural development community, we are kind of assuming the mantle of institution which is to act as a think tank. One of the approaches that the ministry is now taking up is the issue of addressing it through the multi-dimensional poverty index. So whatever are the indicators which constitute the multidimensional poverty index, if we are able to address them, and obviously they would be addressed not only by programs by the concerned flagship ministries or their programs, but also by their programs effectively liaising and coordinating with other programs, with the rural institutions and all of that. So one of the requests that I have to make on this occasion is for the NIRD to kind of work with the ministry and NITI, because we are requesting NITI to kind of provide the effective convergence and coordination with the other ministries by providing district-wise or if possible even lower level of aggregation, the different indicators drawing from the different program statistics or surveys or whatever, and see if in the next 5 years we are in a position to lift the rural population of the multidimensional poverty to the best possible extent. As far as I can recall, we currently, our 27% of the population at this moment is said to be below the multidimensional poverty. And if we are able to say bring it down to, let's say, 5%, that would be quite a huge achievement, and NIRD will have a huge role to play, in my opinion. The other issue which I would like to you to kind of heed is the issue of NIRD being the apex of the network that heads. So NIRD by itself does a part of the activity. Rest of the activities are handled, particularly those at the grassroots, by the associated institutions such as SIRDs, such as the ET Extension Training Centers and other institutions within the network. So the question that we should ask ourselves is, are we in a position to kind of appraise the situation of the state institutes of rural development? Are we in a position to take up initiatives for their improvement? Are we in a position to at least sensitize the powers that be in the rural areas to make sure that they pay heed to the institutions? I find it particularly appalling that a person with 6 to 7 years of service becomes the head of the SIRD. I find it appalling that the institutions get converted as the COVID centers and they continue to remain closed. I find it appalling that there are no regular faculties. I find it appalling that the institutions do not have autonomy. I find it appalling that they have very little resources, while the mandate that they have to serve is as huge as we have heard different leaders articulate on this matter. If you are addressing 70% of the population, or if you take different numbers, 60% of the population, and they address institutions as diverse as PRIs or SHGs or similar other community level voices and presences. And if we are not able to serve them through the capacity building at the state level, and the institutions are not strong, then we have kind of not been as effective. I saw this question being asked very often in the standing committee, that whether people are aware of the NIRD PR activity. I think it's a wrong question. The question that they should ask is that whether the training and capacity building activities that are being done and spearheaded by NIRD PR is what is reaching out to the people on the ground or not. It's not that the NIRD PR should take the central position or central role or should be visible. I think that's a wrong question. The issue is that through the network that we had, are we able to reach out to the rural institutions and rural people and rural leaders? And we should pay attention to the strength of these institutions. We should, if necessary, be vocal about it. Let's bring out publication. Let's host functions in which the strength and weaknesses of different institutions are brought out. Let us send out yearly assessment to the chief secretaries and chief ministers, saying that these are your weaknesses. Please attend to them, and until unless you do them, you will not be doing justice to the rural constituency that you had. The third area which I wish to take up, and I'm sorry I'm not as well prepared as my predecessors have been able to, because Narendra reminded me just yesterday. So I'm taking some thoughts and expanding and articulating them. So one of the thought was that the NIRD PR should be a hub of the national network of related institutions in the capacity building, in the research, knowledge creation, and the policy advocacy, as far as the rural constituencies are concerned. This was a thought articulated by Dr. Y.K. Alad's committee, and I think this is one area where we have done some work, but where we have to do a big deal of work. We have to be cognizant of the fact that all these institutions are working in the rural areas. They may have different areas of focus, but many of such institutions are working. IITs, IIMs, central universities, state universities, training institutions, policy think tanks, all of them are working. So are we kind of bringing all their thoughts together? Are we kind of laying down an agenda for these institutions to take up? Although it may be a very tall order for us to be kind of claiming that we have led agenda, but I think if we, as an institution, as a hub of the national network on the issues as far as they relate to the rural areas, are able to lay down certain areas, priorities, I think many people get motivated. Many people get a place to articulate, and on this integrated framework, a lot of activities can be brought together, and which would ultimately be impactful as body of collective knowledge is able to impinge on the problem at hand. Otherwise, what happens is that all of us are working at silo, and our collective impact is not as much as as it should be by aggregating the individual impact. So I think we should appeal to the sense of the nation building that all the organizations working within India and many out of the taxpayers' money should be imbued with is of collectively working towards the rural areas and the rural people and rural citizens. So I think this is one area where we need to work a lot, and I would certainly agree with Dr. Reddy when he exhorted the NIRD faculty members to be writing often on the areas of concern of the uh, rural areas and rural constituency. If we don't write, then the appeal of others to come to this network to be able to work together is diminished. So we have to also work towards establishing ourselves as thought leaders, people who are thinking deeply, people who bring on the ground knowledge of the rural areas and are forward looking. So this will be extremely critical. One of the next themes that I would like to take up, and which is a kind of related, this was what Professor Alag also recommended, and this related to setting up regional networks of one each in the each agroclimatic region, and kind of NIRD and the SIRDs acting as hubs of these regional networks and pulling all of them together for acting on the rural areas. So this, although for the Northeast we have an institution, and probably to that extent because of the geographical situation that it is in, it is able to serve that function. But as far as other agroclimatic regions are concerned, we will have to work hard in order to be able to do justice to the vision that was laid down by the Alag Committee and accepted by the ministry. The other issue which I would like to bring to your notice is the issue of the climate change and the different discussions that are taking place as on account of India's commitment. So climate change is real. I mean, cannot be denied. Hyderabad recently had seen a lot of floods, and Andhra Pradesh saw a lot of floods. Tamil Nadu is seeing a lot of floods, unseasonal and huge floods which have not been witnessed for a long time. So how do we make sure that we are able to create, address the vulnerabilities that come on account of the climate change, and are we able to map out all such areas, and are we able to kind of offer solutions to the ministry and to other ministries of the government of India and to the state government, so that the vulnerabilities are handled? Many tech solutions are being worked out. For example, one of the work that NIRDPR is also in is that of the climate proofing of the natural resources through drawing up watershed development plans based on the remote sensed and geo-coordinated data that is available from the ISRO and National Remote Sensing Center. And the gathering would be quite happy to know that such plans have been prepared for more than 2 lakh gram panchayats. There is another partnership being worked out with the FCDO of the government of UK for climate proofing all these plans. These provide us some scope of work. Then the area of bringing down the energy intensity of the economy, as you would be aware that the Honorable Prime Minister mentioned that he would raise the energy, he would probably bring down the energy intensity of the economy to about 45% or so, some such number, if I recall correctly. So bringing down the energy intensity in whatever activities are happening in the rural areas is a task which is worth doing. So that would mean probably that instead of the burnt bricks, we use baked bricks. We use a lot of solar energy into our cooking. We use solar power generated grids or other renewable energy source based grids. So the possibilities are very large, and forward-looking institutions should work in these areas. And I'm sure NIRDPR would also like to work in these areas. The interventions of science and technologies is quite large, and NIRDPR is also doing its bit by setting up a rural technology park. But we should also ask ourselves, is that the task that we should be doing? I mean, I'm not saying that whatever was done was not appropriate at that time, but in future, because the nature of the technology is changing very fast, and if we pick some technologies, maybe we can help, but could the need of the rural areas be served better by documenting the technologies, linking them with the institutions which are already spearheading these technologies, or by setting up institutions within our academies, within our campuses for demonstrating those technologies? In my opinion, we should act as a clearinghouse. We should document them better. We should help the rural areas and the rural people get access to those technologies than investing our energy in setting up such centers, because at the best we could demonstrate only few technologies, while the technological possibilities which are available to people are much more than what is and what can be demonstrated in a campus. So we should use and take recourse to the electronic facility that has become available by way of the internet based cataloging, to be able to demonstrate all these possibilities, looking at the cost and consequences of all these technologies, and the institutional and other supports that are needed for helping these technologies succeed. One of the thoughts that also comes to me is on the issue of the development of the techno-managerial cadres. And that is one of the core tasks that the NIRDPR is handling. We need to see and probably go beyond the Panchayati Raj institutions and the Panchayati Raj workers, to see what kind of supports that we need. And the NIRD community is aware of the fact that the model that currently is succeeding in the rural areas is that of the para workers. So, for example, you have a Pasu Sakhi, and that helps drive the livelihood activities in the livestock activities in the rural areas. You have Krishi Sakhi, you have Mat Sakhi, and you would have people helping the area of sanitation. You will have people helping the area of rural electrification and all of that. So one of the thoughts that come to me is that NIRDPR should do a greater mapping of the possibilities of the such kind of people who would effectively deliver service and supplies in the rural areas, and we should see that the state governments and the ministries provide an enabling framework for their orientation, their training, providing them toolkit, recognizing them. So if we are able to do that, in addition to what we do for the Panchayati Raj functionaries, we will be doing a good service to the institution, and so CRPs in many other areas, also in terms of bookkeeping and these areas, banking, banker Sakhi, etc., will also be covered within the scope. So I think we should look at the possibilities that is offered to expand the profile of the service providers in the rural areas, and arrange for an enabling framework of these service providers that would enrich the rural areas in terms of more service availability in the rural area. The NIRDPR has been adopting villages for quite some time. One of the suggestions given to the NIRDPR by the standing committee was that they should adopt many more villages than what they are doing. I'm not sure I'm in sympathy with that kind of argument, but what we should, in my opinion, be doing is to, and I'm sure we are doing, is to document how the rural areas are changing. Those are the living laboratories in some sense of the rural areas. And if we have snapshots of the rural life, their lessons, their needs, the changing livelihoods, the changing social situation, these would be quite valuable in sense of doing research with regard to the changing situation of the village and the rural areas over a long period of time. That's what many social scientists do when they take up a cohort and follow them up for a long period to come. So if we have been doing this, let's continue to do that, but let's be far more diagnostic and documentative than we have been, and see that we are in a position to track the situation of the rural areas for a long period of time, and thereby afford the researchers the opportunity of tracking the rural reality over a long period of time, and accordingly derive conclusions both with regard to the interventions, with regard to the changing social reality and rural reality, and what works and what not works. I'm entirely in sympathy with the suggestion that was offered of working to develop the dual leadership and the vision that was made of about 2.5 lakh leaders. It's a great vision. I I have seen the kind of transformation that is brought about if people are exposed in the right manner. I can recall a village near the state capital of Jharkhand, Ranchi. So they went to Ralegaon Sindhi and they all decided to contribute towards cleanliness, towards prohibition, towards working together to ensure that the social ills are kicked away. And so, if we have leadership which is motivated, which is made resourceful by exposing that person to the possibilities that is offered by different programs as well as the different institutions that are working towards rural areas, I'm sure it would make a degree of change, and we, we must work towards obviously working on the Panchayati Raj institutions would be of help, but let us also identify others who could be similarly impactful. I would assure on part of the ministry that the issues that pend with the ministry will be handled, but I'll also request the NIRD to see that some of the issues that they can themselves handle are handled. For example, recruitment of faculty members and other members, finalization of the recruitment rules, and so on, bringing more cohesiveness, more clarity in the vision of the institution. That would be quite helpful, and if everybody becomes a part of the group which aims to take NIRD PR towards greater heights, I'm sure NIRD PR would certainly attain those heights which has been visualized and expected of the NIRD and PR. There are large number of people willing to help, and I'm sure the NIRD PR would work towards seeking their energies for improving its offering as far as the rural areas are concerned. The NIRD PR must make itself more relevant to the needs of the programs within the ministry. So to that extent, I would seek much greater interaction between the programs and those people who are dealing with the issues of the program within the NIRD PR. So the knowledge needs, the piloting needs, the IT needs, and the way these programs are being fashioned should be what should also animate the NIRD and PR. That way, ministry and NIRD PR working together in unison would have far more impact and relevance than these two institutions working separately, and a ministry bemoaning the fact that they are not getting the intellectual firepower that they should get from the institution, or the NIRD PR feeling that the ministry is not utilizing. I think there should be approach from both the sides, and let's put all our collective might for improvement of the MORD programs and MORD initiatives. I would certainly request NIRD PR leadership for more diversity within the institution. So you need to expand the area from where you draw faculty and staff members. Only by having a diverse institution, you will be in a position to serve the country better. Otherwise, institutions that draw from a limited pool of manpower also close their minds, and probably then the motivation of people to go towards different parts of the country, draw deep diagnostics, bring the lessons that those places offer gets diminished. So bring greater diversity within the institution, and that is more representative of the country. That would be a very welcome situation, and I would request NIRDPR leadership to work towards this. I thank you for the opportunity that you gave me for addressing on this solemn occasion. I think as a privilege, I grateful for to the DG for offering me this opportunity. I once again take the opportunity to congratulate each member of the NIRD family, current or past, on this occasion. Let them be safe, let them be happy. Thank you very much.